Good morning and welcome to NYNJPA Weather, your weather source for the Northern Mid-Atlantic. I'm meteorologist Stephen DiMartino. The surface map this morning shows a stationary front developing off the New Jersey coast and waves of low pressure beginning to develop from the southeast, actually along the Gulf Coast, all the way up through Virginia. Meanwhile, high pressure is building over Quebec and much of the Great Lakes and starting to build towards New England. All this is setting up for what looks like to be a cloudy and wet period of weather for the next several days. When we take a look at the radar picture, we can see showers are starting to develop throughout much of the southern mid-Atlantic. Some of this rain is not reaching the ground yet. It's what we call virga. It's because the lower parts of the atmosphere are still relatively dry. Remember yesterday afternoon when the first cold front moved through, we had a lot of dry air move into the northern mid-Atlantic, and as a result, dew points crashed. Then our second cold front moved through, which is now stationary off the east coast, and that brought the cooler air, which is why we're in the 60s instead of the 70s and 80s. Now, moisture is starting to move north because of an upper level low developing to the west, and as a result, we're starting to get these showers. But the showers are going to have to moisten up the atmosphere a little bit more before it reaches the ground. So that's why we're having virgo. Let's take a look at the water vapor though, because we have a few interesting features that are starting to develop on the satellite picture. Now remember what I said yesterday about an upper level low developing. Well, now we have our upper level low starting to cut off and intensify over the Mississippi River Valley. That upper level low is going to transition towards the Tennessee River Valley. Notice all the greens and blues are moving up the east coast. That's a lot of moisture. That type of moisture is moving north and northeast towards the northern mid-Atlantic. So let's piece together all the features we have here. We have high pressure that is developing around Maine. We have a stationary front off the east coast with waves of low pressure going back from the Gulf Coast all the way up to Virginia. We have our upper level low developing, intensifying, and starting to tilt towards a negative tilt, which is basically, right now it's positive, so all the upper level winds are from the southwest to northeast. When the upper level low tilts negative, when the trough tilts negative, as it's swinging through the Tennessee River Valley, by tomorrow, winds are going to be from the southeast off the Atlantic to the northwest, right into the northern mid-Atlantic, which is why we're going to see plenty of rainfall developing over the region. So we have plenty of moisture, plenty of rain, and then later on in the week, we have another disturbance that is developing in the Western Caribbean. That disturbance is still debatable as to whether it moves up the east coast or if it stays far enough east to remain off the coast, produce plenty of rain for the southeast, but stays to the east of the northern mid-Atlantic. Let's go over the forecast one more time that I showed yesterday. This is the forecast map I made yesterday, and again, it's the same idea. Upper level low developing over the Tennessee River Valley, high pressure to the north, and we have our stationary front. Plenty of moisture is moving north. Rainfall amounts between this afternoon all the way through Wednesday morning is going to range anywhere from 1 to 3 inches. If that other disturbance, which I'm expected to remain east of the northern mid-Atlantic and off the coast, actually ends up a little bit further west, we could be seeing rainfall amounts over 5 inches by the time this week is done. I'm holding off on that a little bit right now because, well, the way the models are handling this feature is rather questionable. First, we have to get the disturbance to develop. Second, we have to discern whether this disturbance is tropical or not. If it's extratropical, then I could see more of a phasing like the GFS and the Canadian model guides are showing, which was producing heavy rain on Thursday and Friday for much of the Philadelphia and southern portions of the New York City metropolitan area. However, if it's tropical and there's a southwesterly wind at the upper levels that is very strong, I'm more inclined to think that this disturbance is going to remain out in the Atlantic, and that's where the heaviest rain will be. So that's where I'm playing this right now, going with scattered clouds for Thursday and Friday, because I think this disturbance will remain off the coast. Of course, I'll change it if I see different features starting to develop or a different indication in more of the model guidance and more of the data. Thank you for trusting in NYNJPA Weather as your weather source for the Northern Mid-Atlantic. I'm meteorologist Stephen DiMartino. Have an excellent day.